So once again, welcome to the 9th standard science class. My dear students, I'm Mithun Raj, signing in from this part of the world, from Cochin, Kerala. So the next part of this chapter motion, it's a bit twisty things. Okay, you already studied about some terms like distance, displacement, velocity, speed, acceleration and all. You already heard about this uniform motion and non-uniform motion. So now the basic things, the basic concept about all these classical mechanics you already discussed in 3 or 4 classes previously, but now it's time to move to some different part, and it is called as plotting points in a map. So in physics, you know, after all, most of the things we are making 100% sure only by what? Only by calculating it. Okay, we need proof. We need proof for something if it is correct or not. So for that, to get the proof mathematically, we have a system called plotting of graph. So in this video session, we will just discuss about some of the basic methods of plotting of graph. You already studied this plotting in your smaller classes, but in the case of physics, which cases we are using, mostly that we will discuss now. So suppose I want to plot the point 3, 4 on a graph, it will be as shown. Just this is a similar type of graph. See, anyway, you know all the graphs has 2 axes, and one is x and one is y. 3-dimensional graphs has one more axis already said. Anyway, now you are not going to study it. In this case, we are choosing each square of the grass at 1 centimeter. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like that. Here also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So if somebody is giving us, telling us to plot a point 3, 4, how will you plot it in the map? In this map, it is already plotted that in the x-axis, what is the value? 3. Okay, x-axis, the value is 3. So you must mark first 3 here. Then in y-axis, what is the value? 4. You must take 1, 2, 3, 4 here. So this is the first point, this is the second point. And just draw a straight line, and the intersecting point is the value, plot point 3, 4. Okay. In the case of this chapter, why we are using this method? For example, just imagine that here I have given time as 3 seconds and distance as 4 meters. Okay, time as 3 seconds and distance are 4 meters. So how will you calculate that? Here, x-axis, mostly we are taking terms which changes rapidly. Understand? Changes rapidly. For the case of distance, maybe sometimes distance will be constant, sometimes distance will change. You studied about that. But in the case of time, one special property is there. Time cannot be same all the time. Can it be? No, every time is changing. So whatever thing is spontaneously changing, we are taking it in the x-axis. Okay, and that is not happening, changes is not happening to something a lot of times, it is taken in the y-axis. Mostly we will take displacement in y-axis, distance in y-axis, speed in y-axis, velocity in y-axis, acceleration also in y-axis, like that. Mostly in this chapter we are taking time almost every time in x-axis. Okay, and using this method we will find out the basic equations of motion. Anyway, this drawing of graph you already studied in smaller classes. Okay, just 2 terms will be given. This is only one value is given. In some other graphs, what the question will come like different types of time, 1 second, 2 second, 3 second, 4 second and 5 second. with respect to each time what is the distance traveled, like 2 meters, 4 meters, 5 meters, 6 meters, like that we can plot a map. And in this case only one point is there, and in the other case one point will be here, one point will be here, and one point will be here, and one point will be here, and we will get a straight line as the answer. After solving some graphs we will you will try to get it understand, but it's the first time you are going through this. I think it's a bit twisty for you to understand, so listen carefully and read your textbook thoroughly. I will give an easy note for you regarding this portion. In that note it is more elaborately it is given than it is given in the textbook. In textbook it's difficult to understand for your students. Okay, it's not 9th standard, it's not 9th class standard, it's a bit more up. So let's see how many types of graphs are there. Graphs and its types. A graph is a pictorial representation of observation. It consists of two variables. One is independent variable and other is dependent variable. Okay, in the case of motion graphs, dependent variable is what? Depending upon something. Mostly velocity, distance and all. Independent variable means every time independent variable will be time. Time is independent of all these things. If we are moving in 60 kilometers per hour, if you are moving with a speed of 50 kilometers per hour, the time will be same, isn't it? There won't be any difference in the time. Time is independent of all these things. Independent variable is taken along the x-axis. I already told that independent variable, in this case we are taking time. Every time we are taking time in the x-axis, and we are taking all the other things. Okay, here we are plotting 4 different types of graphs: distance graph, displacement graph, velocity graph and acceleration graph. And in all these 4 cases, what values we will write in the x-axis? It will be regarding time. Okay, and in y-axis it will be regarding the distance, velocity, displacement, what all things. So that is a simple introduction to this graph, and distance, time graph and all we can discuss next. One more time I will just tell. See, basically if we are drawing a graph we need to use scale. Okay, don't use without scale, don't even try to draw a graph. It is impossible to get these values. Actually, why we are using this graph? It is very easy to find values by the help of a graph. You can do it by calculation, but for calculation we need equations. Okay, by plotting this graph, finally what we are getting? We will get the basic equations of motion, which regards what all things? Distance, displacement, velocity, acceleration and time. Understand? If all these variables are included in that equation, we will see how we are getting that. In this chapter, the 3 equations of motions are very important. You by heart it as it is, and also we will study how to derive that equation from this graph. Okay, so this is the basic thing. The first thing is what? Independent variable is time. Okay, all the other 4 things, displacement, distance, velocity and acceleration, are dependent upon time. So we take that in y-axis, and time we are considering in x-axis. Okay, and if you want to plot some value inside the graph, every time we need at least 2 values. Okay, points will be 2 plot we need. One is through the x-axis and one is through the y-axis. Otherwise it is impossible to plot a graph. Even though it is y is 0 also, we can plot it. Where we will plot? In this case x is 3, y is 4. If y is 0, where will you plot? X 1, 2, 3 here, y 0. The point will be here, isn't it? If y is 1 means the point will be here, y is 2 means here, 3 means here. Understand? In this case x is 0 means where will you plot it? Where is the point you will get? X 0, y 4 here. Understood? If x is 2, y is 5, where will you get the point? 1, 2 here, y 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This point. Understood? So we need to try to plot different variables like velocity, time and all in this graphs. Okay, that is the main thing. Next class we will detailedly discuss about each points. Okay, each points. If I teach you all those things in one day, it will be totally confusing and you will be out of mind. Okay, small notation I am giving. Just do one thing, different values like x is equal to 1, y is equal to 2, next x is equal to 2, x is equal to 5. Just draw a graph like this. Use till 10. Here only 5 numbers are there. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1 centimeter apart. And here also like that. And different values try to practice in the map. Not map, in the graph. After that you will get a small idea regarding how to plot points in map. After that we will start with the displacement, time and all. Okay, that's all for today. Next class we will study about displacement, how to how to draw displacement time graph. Okay, my dear kids. So that's the thing. One more time I am telling that this chapter is not that much easy for you. This chapter and also the next chapter of physics is also not that much easy for you, but it is the basics of classical mechanics part of physics. Okay, if you are choosing science part, everywhere you will see these types of graphs in your PUC first year, second year, graduation, engineering, what all things you are going. Plotting of graph is a must question. Not only that, it is an application of physics. Easily we will get values. Easily we can understand the values by this graphical method. Okay? So, be careful. Just listen carefully and try to do the works what is given in that group daily. And that note which is I am giving, that's very important. And it's very simple. I made it very simple. Okay, in textbook it is not simple. That notes you must copy it in your CW and you must go through that notes at least once in a week. Okay, at least once in a week. I'm not telling now every day you want to go through. For this 9th standard, at least once in a week you must go, because it is the basics of classical mechanical part of physics. So till then, Mithun Raj signing off from this part of the world. My dear kids, be safe at home. Okay, it's a bad corona situation. Almost in Karnataka, the coronavirus numbers crossed almost 1 lakh, I think 1 lakh. So be safe. Be at home. Be safe. Be healthy. Goodbye and Jai Hind.